And joining us now to talk about the latest developments with the coronavirus pandemic is Dr. Cyrille Cohen, head of the immunotherapy lab at Bar-Ilan University. Doctor, thank you so much for being with us. Now, we started our third shutdown yesterday. Do you think, as predicted, that this will be the last one before the pandemic is over?
I really hope so. I'll tell you the truth, because basically we know now that the vaccination process has started, and we are leading in terms of vaccination worldwide. Okay, with almost 5% of the population already vaccinated. So these are great news. Now, we were very, I would say, concerned by the sudden rise in cases. So I do believe that if we manage to vaccinate in time, I really strongly hope that this is our last lockdown.
All right, well, speaking of, again, the lockdown versus the number of vaccinations or the inoculated, do the growing number of sick people in Israel still justify the current restrictions that are being put on us by the government?
Yes, to some extent, we needed some restrictions. We can argue if a lockdown is justified, fully justified, but on the other hand, we needed some, I would say, restrictions, because as you have seen, really, we had some important cases, from abroad. We have some illegal gatherings, so we need to do something.
Well, speaking of the restrictions themselves, though, I mean, you're talking about some of the causes for the spike in the infection, but do these restrictions specifically address those issues? For example, the schools are staying open, teachers are not on the top priority list of getting vaccinations, and of course, again, as we know, only the elderly and first responders are getting vaccines right now.
So basically what we know most likely is that next week, based on the numbers we have of doses that already arrived in Israel, we will allow more people to get vaccinated, and teachers will be, I guess, amongst those people. Now, again, if you look at the restrictions that were decided, again, I'll tell you the truth. Schools, at least, elementary schools, are known to be or not to be the engine of the spread of the disease. Therefore, I think it's fully justified that those grades should continue to study. For the rest of the restrictions, I'm really sorry about businesses, because to my humble opinion, I do not think that small shops, on the street are really a problem. I think the main problem we have today is that we do not have enough data to ascertain the impact of this or that on the, I would say, the rise in cases. And therefore, what is happening is basically that we have declared a kind of general lockdown, more or less, so that we can really slow down the pace of the infection.
All right. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the mutations that have been growing around the world, popping up around the world and imported into Israel. Do you see, what can you see from this mutation? Do you expect it to be one of the last mutations, specifically the one from the UK, or that we believe came from the UK? Do you think that that's going to be the last serious mutation that we're going to see before vaccinations are widespread enough to combat them?
Mm-hmm. No, so we have to take into account, the more people, and this is a rule, the more people catch the disease, the more people are sick, the more chances you will have to have what we call escape variants or mutations. Okay, that's mathematical, that's biological. So we really hope that by vaccinating the more and more people, we will stop the potential of those viruses to further mutate. I'm really concerned. I'm concerned by that particular strain, that new strain that came from the UK, and also the strain from South Africa. Both strains exhibit a really high level of transmissibility. What we call the rate of transmission is gone from 1.2, 1.3 to 1.7, 1.8, which really means that instead of seeing a rise or a doubling of the cases every 2 weeks, now we're seeing a tripling of the cases every week. by that strain. So it is concerning. So the only thing we can do right now, besides, the regular measures of, physical distances, mask, and hygiene, the only thing we can do is to vaccinate. But then again, we need also doses for those vaccines. And we know that Pfizer and Moderna have to keep the pace with that. And it's going to take some time, unfortunately.
All right, Dr. Cohen, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.